So as we progress in this lecture series on signals and systems, so we are currently looking at the concept of digital convolution. So this is more like the first lesson basically under digital convolution, although we've looked at something under digital signal earlier. Alright, so to start with, I'll just be starting with examples. I'm not going to be going into definition of what is digital convolution or what is convolution or what have you. So let's just go straight into an example so that we can understand one or two things under this concept. So now let's look at this example. It says given a sequence h of k, and this is it here. So now I said where k is a time index or sample number, sketch the sequence h of k and reverse sequence. So if you have been following this lecture series from the beginning, I want to believe that you won't have problem with sketching what we have here. Exactly. However, you can just test your knowledge on it. Just pause the video and do a rough sketch of what this particular signal would look like. Because I remember when we were looking at some basic continuous signals, we made reference to when you have something like this, how to interpret them. Alright, so I hope you got it, but now let's look at it together. So the first thing we have to do is we should sketch the sequence h of k. So it's actually two in one question in the A part. We have to sketch it and we also to reverse the sequence. So let's first sketch it now. So in sketching this, so we'll be having something like this. So this will be our h of k. And then right here will be our k. Alright. So now let me just number it also. So this is going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, and just make it to 4. To 4, and then here, let me just have -1 and -2. Then for the amplitude, so just to know the amplitude, the max, just this is what will determine here, whatever values, the highest value you're having here will determine the amplitude, and then the highest value here and the lowest value will determine what you are going to be having on the x-axis, on this x-axis. So that is it here. So again, let me just explain that so that you can, so it's not actually guesswork. You can see all these numbers I'm putting here, they are not guesswork, exactly. So again, the highest and the lowest value you have here will determine how you are going to spread it across on the x-axis, exactly. Okay, why the amplitude? The amplitude is the height here, exactly. What will determine if, okay, maybe it's, you can decide to use any scale that is convenient to you, but for you to know the max on the y-axis is whatever max you are having here. Exactly, that is what will determine what will be on this amplitude. I hope that makes sense. Alright, so for this now, the max here is 3, and then the least is 0. So from 0, so this is 1, let me take this to be 1, 2, and then 3. Alright, so now let's just draw. So we are gradually answering the first question. So we should sketch the sequence h of k. Alright, so when h of k is 3, at an amplitude of 3, so when it is on 0 and 1, it is 3. So on 0, so that is 1. And then on 1, is also having an amplitude of 3. Then when for amplitude of 1, for k is 2 and 3. So that means if you trace it here like this. So the same thing also for 2 and 3. Are we good? Alright, so with this now we've been able to answer the first part of this, which is to sketch the h of k. Alright, so let's continue. So now the next one says we should sketch the reverse sequence h of minus k. Now remember when we did basic signal operation, where we look at time shifting, time scaling, and time reversal. So Time reversal is what we are asked to do here. So this particular signal that we have here, we are going to reverse it. When I mean reverse, we are going to mirror it. I've talked about it earlier in the previous one of the previous video I did earlier. Alright, so for us to reverse it, what it means is that we are going to flip it along the y-axis. Exactly. So that means we are going to just flip it along the y-axis. So let's do that. So in doing this, I'm just going to redraw so I'll just go ahead and draw this again. So this will be our k, and this time around we are going to have this as our h of minus k. Remember, that's how you indicate a mirrored signal. You can call it a mirrored signal or a reversed signal, time reversal. Now let me go ahead and also do this. So this will be 1, 2, 3. Let me just make it to 4. And then on the negative side, I'm also going to make it to 4 since we are mirroring it. So this is going to be minus 1, minus 2, minus 3. I'm supposed to stop with minus 3, but let's just take it to minus 4. So the amplitude will remain the same. So this is 1, 2, and then 3. Alright, so now let's mirror it. So that means if you should flip it, how else can I put it? So just like just once you flip it along the along the y-axis. So if you have to flip this particular signal along the y-axis, so this is what it's going to look like. So the first one, it will still remain the same since it's lying on the y-axis itself. So the first signal will still be there. Now for this particular one, by the time you flip it, it will be on minus 1. The amplitude will remain the same. Exactly. Then for this now, if you should flip it, it will be on 2. Exactly. It will be on minus 2 rather. The amplitude will still remain the same. And then for this now, if you should flip it, remember it is on 3, it will come on minus 3. The amplitude will remain the same. Alright, so what we've just done now, we've been able to answer the question A. Exactly, so let me just put it A. So this is A. Let me call this AI. And let me call this AII. Alright, so we've been able to answer the first question. We've sketched this the sequence h of k, which is this. And we've also sketched the reverse sequence h of minus k, which is this. So I hope you got the explanation on how to sketch the signal and how to flip it. Exactly, how to reverse it. So some can tell you, so in case the question say, okay, for example, this is saying we should sketch it, we should already sketch it and reverse sequence. Or some might tell you to draw the this is the reverse. Some might tell you to draw the mirror sequence or to tell you to draw the time reversal. They are both the same thing. So either they tell you to mirror or to find the time reversal, or they ask you to flip. Exactly. So whatever word they are using is still the same thing. So don't think they are different thing, or don't get it confused. Don't get yourself confused. Now let's go to the B part. We are asked to sketch the shifted sequence h of k plus 3 and then h of minus k minus 2. So this is a question under time shifting, and I want you to also pay attention to this. Alright, so let's go to the B part. So let's call this BI. So which is the shifted sequence h of k plus 3. So what they're asking us is that, you see this first one that we did, that we should shift it by plus 3. And when we are dealing with time shifting, exactly, for a normal signal, not a reverse signal, once you are having plus 3, that means you are shifting it to the left by 3. I've explained this. Also, if you watch the video before this particular one that you are watching, we look at an example similar to it now. So when we looked at this particular example, exactly. So what we applied here is what we're also going to apply here. So now let me do that. So what we're asked to do is, we are asked to sketch h of k. Is it h of k? Okay, yeah, h of k plus 3. All right, so that means this particular signal, let me just sketch it side by side. Okay, let me start on a new page. So this is BI, and we are asked to sketch. All right, so to make it much more easier to understand, so I want to have it side by side. So this is now the original signal. This particular signal here, this is the original signal. So now what we want to sketch now is we want to sketch. Okay, so this is the question itself. So this is h of k. So what we want to do now is to sketch h of k. All right, so let me just clean this. So this is so what we have here is h of k, and what we want to sketch here, let me demarcate it. H of k, is it minus or plus? Okay, h of k plus 3, h of k plus 3, so that you can see them side by side. So what we have on the left side of the screen, which is right here, is h of k. So what we want to sketch on the right is h of k plus 3. So to do this also, let's go ahead and draw the x and y axis. Okay, so I've drawn the x and y axis. So on the y axis, which is on the side of the amplitude, so instead of having h of k like we have here, we are going to have h of k plus 3, exactly. So the amplitude will remain the same. The amplitude doesn't change. So this will be 1, 2, 3. So now let me explain what we want to do here. Now, you see this original signal that we are having here. We want to shift it. Since it is h of k plus 3, we are shifting it to the left by 3. Exactly, you are shifting it to the left by 3. I've explained this when we are doing time shifting and in the other video in the last video before this. So that means this particular one here. So that means each of this signal like this, each of them will be shifting it to the left by 3. So this is on 0. So if you shift it 3 times to the left, that means from 0 is going to be coming here, 1, 2, 3. So that means this particular one is going to fall under minus 3. I hope you get that illustration. So now let's quickly do that. So if this now is shifted to the left by 3, okay, before I do that, let me add the scale on the k-axis. So now that we know that is minus 3, so that means we're going to extend this to minus 3. So this is going to be 0, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3. So let me just add minus 4. So right here, and if this we also shift it 3 times, this is going to be 1, 2, 3. That means it's going to be falling on 0. Exactly. So that means we can just have this to be just 1. If you have it as 1, we will be fine. So like I explained earlier, we are going to pick each of them. We have 4 of them. Let me just call them 4 bars here. So if you move this first one, like I explained earlier, 3 times, because by the fact that we have k plus 3, that means we are shifting each and every one of them to the left 3 by 3. So from here, 1, 2, 3. So this first one will be shifted. Once it is shifted, it's coming on minus 3. So on minus 3 here, we trace it to the height of 3. And the height of 3 is somewhere here. And then we trace it straight down. Are we good? So that's it for this. So we come to the second one, which is this particular one here. So if I decide to also shift it by 3, so this is going to be 1, 2, 3. It's falling on minus 2. So if I should come over to the main signal here, and this is it. So the next one, which is this. So now since we've been able to get the first one, that means we know that the other 2 are just going to follow it like that. So the height will remain the same. This time around, this is going to be on minus 1. So from here. And then for this fourth one, it will come here. Exactly. So let me just use this now. For example, if I should shift this, this one that is on 3, if I should shift it 3 times, it's going to be 1, 2, 3. You can see it's coming on 0. and that is what we have here. Okay, so you can see it. So basically that's just it. There is no big deal. So what we are having here again, so what we are having here is h of k, and what we are having here is h of k plus 3. I hope you're able to get that. So with that, now we've been able to answer this particular question. It says sketch the shifted sequence h of k plus 3. Now let's sketch this h of minus k minus 2, and I want you to pay attention to this because it can be very confusing and tricky, but don't worry, you get the concept. So now let's call that question BII. And also I'm going to just do it like this. So let's first of all draw the shifted sequence. Remember, this is the shifted sequence. Exactly. And this is one that we are asked to shift to by minus 2. All right. Sorry, did I mention that this is the shifted sequence? No, this is the reversed sequence, not the shifted sequence. That should be a slip of tongue. So this is the reversed sequence that we are asked to shift by minus 2. So before I go into, just take note that when you are shifting a reversed sequence, it is different from when you are shifting a normal sequence. I think I mentioned it before I started this particular example. This is just a normal sequence. Exactly. Once you are shifting it, it's different from when you are shifting a reversed sequence. A normal sequence will just have h of k, either it is plus or minus 2 or whatever. This is just a normal sequence. But once it is a reversed signal that you are asked to shift, a reverse signal or sequence you are asked to shift, you'll be having h of a negative sign before the alphabet. Exactly. Then you can now have maybe plus 2 or h of minus k minus 2. But once you see this minus before the alphabet, just know that you are asked to shift a mirrored signal. And don't forget, like I said earlier, if either they call it a mirrored signal, a flipped, either flip or flipped signal, or a reversed signal. Exactly. We are still saying the same thing. So I might use it interchangeably, but I am still saying the same thing. Exactly. So if I should mention any of these words, I'm saying the same thing. That mirror signal, flip signal, reverse signal, I'm saying the same thing. Exactly. All right. So let me go ahead and draw the reversed signal on this side, and then so that we can do the shifting on this other side. All right, so I've gone ahead to draw the reversed signal. That's the h of minus k. Like I said, if I should say reverse signal, if I should say the flip signal, or I say the mirrored signal, I am still saying the same thing. Exactly. So I've gone ahead to draw it here. So let me just demarcate the space here, so that we can have a proper understanding, so that we can be looking at it side by side, so that you can get the difference. So the next thing we want to do now is to draw the h of minus k minus 2. Exactly. So that means we are going to ask, is that what is in the question? Okay, so this is it. So we are asked to sketch the shifted sequence h of minus k minus 2. So h of minus k and minus 2, if you see it like this, that means this is a shifting operation. And this shifting operation is shifting an operation that has a signal that has already been mirrored. Now, the idea, like I mentioned earlier, of shifting a signal that has already been mirrored is different from shifting a normal signal. So take note. So let's first of all draw our k-axis and our h of minus k minus 2. So here we are having k, and right here we are going to have h of minus k minus 2. Exactly. So instead of h of minus k, and then this is going to be 0. So let's have this as just 1 and then 2. So here minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, and then we are going to need it till minus 5, and I'm going to explain why. So minus 5. The amplitude will remain the same, so this will be 1, 2, and then 3. All right, so now let's get to the main part of the explanation now, and I want you to get this straight. This is now our original signal. Exactly. This is now this is now our reverse signal, and we want to shift it by minus 2. This time around, what we are going to do is we are going to shift it to the left. by 2. I'm just taking a few seconds so that can sink in. This is a reversed signal already. This is the reverse signal already. Exactly. So if we are shifting it by -2, that means we are shifting it to the left by 2. Now, assuming the question is h of minus k plus 2, that means we are shifting it to the right by 2. Exactly. The reason why you are shifting it to the right by 2 is because we are having 2 here. If it is 4, it will be 4. If what we are having here is minus k minus 4, then we are shifting it to the left by 4. I hope you get that. So the 2 is not a standard. So it's the number that we are given that will determine the length, or by how much are we going to be shifting it to. But now let's understand the position or the direction in which we are to shift it. So if you are shifting a reverse signal and then it is having minus sign before the number, just know that you are shifting it to the left. If it is positive, you are shifting it to the right. Now, but the difference between this and if you are having h of k minus 2 and you want to shift this, for this now, you are going to be shifting it to the right by 2. Now, I hope you got the difference between what we are having here. Let me call this 1, and what we are having here, and let me call this 2. I hope you got this. I'm just going through this so that you can have a better understanding, or a proper understanding. Now, this is a reversed signal that is being shifted. This is just, let me just call it a normal signal, that there is no reversal that has happened to it that you are shifting. So if you are shifting, again for the last time, if you are shifting a reversed signal, and for using this as an example, we are having minus, and for you to know that it is reversed, you are going to see a negative sign before the alphabet. Could be K, it could be H, it could be any number, it could be N, it could be N, it could be anything. Once you are seeing a negative sign before it, just know that it's a reverse signal. Now, if you look at what we are having here, there is no negative sign before the K. Before K here, there is no negative sign, so it is not a reverse signal. So for this now, if you are to shift this, if you are to shift this now, because it is -2, you are shifting it to the right. Assuming we have it to be +2, you are shifting it to the left. Take note of that. And I've explained this under time shifting, but I need to just go through again. Then for this now, since there's a negative there, and you are asked to shift it by minus, and we are having -2, that means you are shifting to the left. If it is +2, you are shifting to the right. I hope that is clear. So now let's answer the question proper. So let me clean this up. So this is h of minus k minus 2. All right. So now if you are shifting this to the left like that, like I said earlier, we've established the fact that this is a reverse signal. For the fact that it's -2, you are shifting it to the left by 2. So now let's just start with this now. So if this -3 is shifted to the left by 2, so that means you are going to be coming 1 and 2. So that means it's going to be on -5. So that's why I was saying that we are going to extend it to -5. So on 1, the amplitude will remain the same on -5. Exactly. So then the next one is this. Exactly. So if we also shift this from -2, if you shift it twice, we want it to come on -4. So we're on -4. Exactly. So the next one is this now. So you don't really need to count because you know that the intervals are equal. So you can just continue like that. The amplitude will still remain the same. So this is 3. Down. Are we good? So the next one will be on 2. The amplitude of on this. So with this now, we've just answered the question. The second part of that's the BII. So this is what the diagram will look like for h of minus k minus 2. Exactly. So I just hope you understand. You understand it, because I believe I've taken my time to explain this. So if you find value in it, please just give it a thumbs up and click on that subscribe button. And if you still have any doubts or any question, do make sure you leave them in the comment section. I'll find time to attend to them. So thank you very much, and then I'll see you all in the next one, where we are going to be going straight into convolution itself.